Έχεις πολλές δουλειές. You don't know what to do first. So many things to do. That's what she said.
So the question. The question is, I want to talk to you about. It doesn't have to be your favorite. It just has to be a book.
A book?
A piece of literature.
You know which one I'm gonna say, but you don't know it.
Yeah. The one that is untranslatable.
No, it is translated.
Yeah,
It
but
is.
you said like you won't be able to.
Yeah.
The green one?
Yeah, translated. Yeah.
The green cover?
No. Which one is with the green cover?
I don't know. What's this one?
This one is from Nikos Kazantzakis.
Yeah.
I think this one is the only one that has been properly translated. But it can be, because there's no dialect, it's very universal. What it says, like when you asked me before, have you read about Buddhism or anything like deeper than what we talked about?
Yeah.
And I told you 100%, that's the book that I was referencing.
Yeah, I understood that part.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought it was funny, because I've been with this question in my mind since March.
Which one?
The question I just asked you about the book. And it's funny that it came up in a conversation like an hour ago, and I was like, damn.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, but it is translated, and I think you should definitely read it. Because you want me to describe it?
Yeah.
So hard to do. I think the main point after I read it one time, because I think I'm gonna read it 5 or 6 or 10, and then each time I'm gonna have more points to describe it. But reading it once, I think the main point is like a little bit like Kant. He just tried to describe in an understandable way what you should be doing to not be a burden, maybe, to the world, if you can say it. Like, this is the least. Mm-hmm. The least that you can do is not be a burden. So, just trying to... Is it rationalizing it? It is.
Yeah.
Is rationalizing bad?
Intellectualizing it?
No. Practically. Like, you should be doing this and this and this, but it's not things you can do. It's what you have to understand so you don't have the like non-realistic goals. Because when you don't really understand what life is, then you strive to things, because every human does that uncontrollably, and there are things that are not only not good for others but bad for everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's how many people live. Mm-hmm. And he just puts in paper what he thinks, so Kazantzakis just puts in paper what he can make out the life to be.
And he says he's a Buddhist, right?
He doesn't say it, but like the book that I'm reading right now, again, from him, maybe it's as good, and I could mention that one, but I haven't read it yet. It's like he was trying, he gave many years of his life to writing a book about Buddha. That must have been much deeper than this, but it's how he mentioned it in his like conversations and articles and stuff. And then he met this guy, Alexandra, the name of the book, and the name of the book is actually the life of Alexandra. He met this guy who was older than him, and he was in Crete. Kazantzakis was also from Crete, but he met him in the time that he was striving intellectually, like being in the zone all the time, seeing it as 100% as a job at some point. He met him, and he was just a very powerful entity of just living. Like, he felt that his whole existence was art, and that he lived life exactly as a human should. Like, he hurt others, for sure, sometimes. Like, he wasn't very trying to be ethical or anything. He was a human that was living as part of this world, just like a fish does, or a bear. Like, it may kill someone, but it's nature.
Is it because his belief is that we're like what we were saying early on the beach, like when do you think highly of yourself, or do you think we're all unique, or are you just someone who's so full of themselves that they think we're all unique?
I don't think it's being full of yourself. It's just a different way of, maybe a bit distorted way of seeing it.
And do you think that living your like how you mention it, like living your life like a fish, something that, do you think maybe fish think they're unique? I don't know, but
that's a different discussion.
No, like,
do ants have
not aunt. I was like on to the no, like, okay, he was living his life.
Perspective, but you're talking about perspective, actually, and if you remove perspective, so yeah, an ant could be conscious, living its life. We have lots of things that point to that. So what?
No, so his perspective is, I'm just gonna be a human, and
in the end, it's an ant. I don't care if it's ethical, to be honest. And you would say, why are you the one to care about it? I'm not. I don't give a fuck. No one does. So, again, then, we have other conversations, and we're very critical of people that have, like, very bad flaws, maybe. Maybe we judge them sometimes. That's part of the book, again. But, like, everyone is in their own path.
yeah.
Like, you shouldn't see a person for what they're right now, which seems a bit misguided, because it's really easy to get misguided. Misguided? Whatever.
I get it. Can't translate, just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you have to see them maybe for the potential. But then you say, some people don't have even potential based on my judgment. It's based on your judgment. I don't think you would ever meet someone or, like, really meet them and think, no potential.
Yeah.
They're just...
Yeah.
Never.
That's true. What did the author say about that?
The author was so obsessed of living his life right. I don't know, that's very bad wording for what he's talking about, but he was obsessed. Like, once so this must be true, because he was a public figure, and people wrote about him a lot. There was a time where he met a woman and he was attracted to her, so he had to decline meeting with her again, because he thought that man shouldn't be doing this. Like, it was his philosophy said that you shouldn't be living the pleasures of the body. I don't know how you call it. Buddhism. And he was really attracted to that woman, and he was so attracted that he thought he kept her number or something, and he thought of having a date. And on the day of the date, he had his face got full with kisses of pus because of the guilt, and he canceled. And he was like that for months.
Damn.
Yeah, so that was his point. That was his perspective on not being a good person. He could die from it, like, let's say, if he thought he wasn't being a good person.
Do you think it's just guilt, or it's also shame?
Yeah, both. Both.
Does he have a chapter where he talks about how it's important to be aware of your inner healthy shame?
No, he never talks individually about the writer or the reader or the anyone. He's like so brilliantly bringing, just like telling a story that sounds like, if you take, like, if you just see someone in the subway reading this book and you're behind them and you read a paragraph, it's gonna sound like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, what is this fiction, extravagant fiction? But it's not.
They have a word for that, like Franz Kafka vibes, you know, like
over that.
yeah.
Like Franz Kafka, you can even just describe what the room is. Like, it's a room.
Yeah.
It's a room. It's a cockroach. It's like a big building and a painter, and it's something. With kazantzakis, I can't really tell you what it is. Like, I have images, vivid images of blood and mud in my head, but I could never put it into, because I read it once, I'm sure. If I read it more times. And it took me a while.
How did you feel when you read it?
Like, never before. Like, every time I was reading it, I wish I had you next to me back then, so I could be like, bro, listen to this. Because I was doing that to Adonis, and he was like, interesting. Interesting! This is mind-blowing! Like, it's not like you're hearing something new, but it's like, I don't know, it's insane. That book is insane. I was so taken aback and humbled when I wrote that book, because I thought, so this guy wrote this book, I shouldn't be writing books. Like, how can someone write this?
Someone who doesn't want to write.
Powerful fucking brain. But that's what he did all his life. He did nothing else. Just thought and wrote and wrote and thought and wrote and thought and wrote. And changed locations sometimes. Europe, Crete, whatever. But he just thought and wrote. I wonder how. Maybe some generational wealth, but I haven't read about his background. Can you believe that? That's the first time that I wanted to read about his background. But I don't really care. Like, even if his generational wealth paid for him to sit and write, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that way, though. I think he did something business-wise as well. I think I should read about that.
Yeah, he didn't just win some crypto. Did he die?
Yeah.
When?
Long ago.
Like late 1900s?
Early 1900s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think. Mid, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been so obsessed with his writings, and I never wanted to look back at, like, the things that the incident that I told you before about his skin and his face and stuff. I read it in one of the introductions of his books, because they're always great. Some very cool people write the introduction for his books. And that's where I read about him. I hadn't. Well, just let's see what he has to say.
Where did he write about where he liked to live?
He has some books about his traveling stories, like China and Russia. Communist? Nah, not exactly. In the beginning of one of his books, it was really emphasizing on how he thought that his like the political aspect of his writing, his philosophy is like, what did he call it? Like, I'm not sure it's exactly that, but I think it was like meta-communism, something like that. But he explained that the only reason that he said that was that that's what some people relate some of the things that he believes with, so he doesn't want to take that away. It was a way of people understanding what he's saying, but it's not communism. It was a bit weird. Whatever. I don't know why I'm saying that. Why did I say that?
Talking about the
Where he liked to live.
Yeah, the places.
So I think the place that he loved most is where he was born, in Crete.
Yeah.
Because he, like in the beginning of the book that I'm reading now with Alexandra, he keeps saying that he was always in the fog of wanting to become something more intellectually and write and think and chase after that. I'm not sure, good question for him, I'm not sure why he felt like he had to be in Northern Europe to do that.
Yeah.
Probably because of the state of Greece back then. Probably. But I think the place that he mentions that his friend sent him after a few years a message that he wanted him to visit, and he was in Germany and babies were dying in the street from the hunger and stuff, and he felt like he couldn't leave because he had something to do there. But he felt like he was very, very stupid later on to do that. So I think he was tormented all the time.
Fair enough.
Adoni, you can do it. You can do it. Nice. That was nice.
So should we go to Crete?
Oh yeah, I lived there for a year. Everything was about him.
Did he mention places?
Yeah, but in storytellings, like the other book that I read about when Crete was still conquered by the Turks. Amazing story, amazing writing. You can't read that. No reason to read that in modern English.
Yeah.
Just a story.
Maybe you should translate it.
I'm sure other people have tried to do that and succeeded more than I will. No.
You can try with me. You'll
Like,
read
I
a
couldn't-
page and then...
Yeah, but in the beginning I couldn't even, for the first 20 pages I was struggling. I couldn't make out what he was saying.
Yeah.
And then I got used to it. Even implemented it a bit in my speech. Stupidly. Oh. But we should go to Crete. It's crazy nice. And the people are something else. Like I used to go to they opened a table next to my house in between the fields where I went to get my vegetables. They always offered with everything, every time I went, they offered me raki to drink. Everyone was like really family situation, I don't know.
Happier.
Yeah, for sure. But also 20 years before, it's a bit of a time travel.
Because I feel like Kia is kind of a time travel. In some ways. But not quite.
Not quite, because it's not targeted to the people living here. Every experience you have here, except lying down with friends, is just everywhere you go, and everything is targeted to people visiting.
Yeah.
So
people
you don't
relaxing.
Have anything. Maybe the Panegyri on the 16th is a bit
more local.
Yeah.